Hey there, I'm coming at you today from a different place here. I'm coming at you from my phone, and um, I can feel there's an energy that's in my body right now because I'm not in my normal place of playing. I'm not in the way that I normally am able to show up for you, coming from a place of having my camera set up and everything like that. In fact, it's actually sitting here right next to me, and at the same time just due to connectivity, I'm coming in through the phone. And as that's coming in, I want to call that out. I want to speak to what's going on in my mind right now that could keep me from either being fully present here or keep me from getting in my head. And it's from that place here of being able to speak truth to what's happening inside of us that I want to introduce today's next level game. See, when we're playing the next level, what I found is that what keeps us actually playing the next steps game, which is what most people out there are playing. And to be honest, it's a fun game. It's a cool game. It's not the game I choose to play because I'm looking for exponential growth. But that I still get where that game is coming from. And what I really understand around that there is that there are going to be times where if you're really being an outlier, pioneer, maverick, you're not necessarily sure where the road is going to take you or how you're going to be in that moment. So I want to just start out here by practicing myself an element of speaking truth into the room. And now that that's all said, I think it can give us some more space, and at the very least, it's going to give me more space. So today, when we talk about the next level here, let's approach it from a place of being willing to do something that we might be comfortable with a different way. Let's approach it from the place of stepping out of our comfort zone and allowing ourselves to be messy and calling it out and celebrating the messiness as well. So we can know that we're doing something and creating something different in the world. Today, I get a chance to be joined by two amazing people who are both willing to play the next level game. And before we got on here, I let them know, I'm like, you were invited here for a reason. They both play a big game in life. They're both choosing to make themselves open to new ways of being and new ways of showing up for themselves and for others. And so I don't know where today's conversation is going to go, but I'm allowing ourselves to play in the space of being messy and calling out what's really true for us right now so we can step beyond that and get to our next levels. So Claire, why don't we bring you on first here? You can go ahead and unmute yourself here, and I'm going to navigate a bit through myself. It's good to have you here, Claire. So what I'm going to do, I love to really just take this time here. I think that the way I like to play here is if there's anything about you and your journey and your past that needs to come up, it will come up naturally through the context of the conversation here, right? What I love to do is give us some space to really just focus in on you. So there's a distinction that I have around next level and next steps, right? And if you had to think for yourself right now, Claire, if there was one thing that you and I could talk about that would get you everything you came on this conversation for and more, what would that thing be?
I'm not sure what that one thing is. I know clarity on focus for my time in the next year. Actually, it's not necessarily short term, but it's I've got this clean slate in a way for my business. So it's getting clarity as to where to use this time that I've been given or I've given myself to have the biggest impact that I can on the world as a whole.
Awesome. I feel like I'm excited for this year because I'm like, oh, we can totally handle that, you know, in our time here. So if you're able to handle the clarity of where you're going to focus your time in the next year, if we're going to do that in like the next 15 minutes or so, where would we take the conversation to next? Like, what would that give you that you don't currently have?
So I feel like I'm mixing and matching a few different options. So, you know, there's the one-on-one coaching that I'm setting up and serving my clients there. That to me is still the small game. You see what I mean? Which is cool because I want to have that. But I also know that if I did that for the next 20 years, that's not having enough of an impact that I want to have. So it's like, how do I widen that impact? Is it doing group coaching online like we're doing here, or is it workshops, outdoor workshops, which is what I really want to do, but where do I do those, and do I do it now or do I do it next year, and is that it? Is that enough? Or the other thing is around the global stage, you know, like TED Talks and things like that. So it's sort of, there's so many things that I don't, and I'm sort of making it up as I go along, which is fine because I'm on intention, but it's how do I, that's next steps rather than next level, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It does make sense, and I hear, and it's an interesting thing, and I can feel myself right now trying to make sure that I don't get into the game of helping you almost like magnify what it is that you already have, almost like pulling your current future forward, you know, and making that incrementally better, as opposed to like really serving you and saying, okay, you have a blank slate, and it's not actually all that blank. You have you have a one-on-one practice. You also kind of have, like, I'm hearing you just kind of laid out some things around the directions you love for things to go in the future, and different ways that you love to serve or show up in the world here, right? I can see that you're also like, you're spending some time thinking right now. So take that time and like take a deep breath in. And why don't you present in this conversation, like the thing that's driving you right now. And my invitation to you is to allow, like, the thing that's really interesting is, like, where's the place that if you allowed yourself to be messy would allow you to actually step into your next level?
I don't know about messy. I'm connecting sort of with my heart, which I, you know, kind of what I want to do is use my body to guide rather than my head. If that makes sense. And maybe that's a bit messier. It's new territory. Oh, it's not completely new territory, but it's relatively new territory. And that, when I kind of connect with my heart, it sort of feels a nervous slash, not anxiety, but excited, actually is probably the right word, a nervous excitement as to what is possible and what could be possible with, you know, if you go into what you were talking about, that sort of, I don't know what the words you used for the bragging place, the brag zone. You know, for me, there is a whole piece around the planet as a whole and climate change that is a massive, massive concern. And the fear is I don't want to be seen as almost a climate change activist or a airy-fairy climate person that no one takes seriously. And it's like, how can I, and, you know, there's all these really eminent scientists that are not being heard. So what difference can I make? But I also care very deeply for the planet. And I also realise that if individuals are so stuck in their own heads, they can't support their family and friends, let alone the planet. So it's sort of the gap in between supporting individuals one-on-one to getting to a community, collective community, human community of switching completely shifting the dial on how we are as a global human society when it comes to everything from soils to farming and animal, all this hideous intensive farming, to CO2 production, cutting down trees, at a faster rate than they're certainly growing. There's sort of big things in there. So, and that's what I get disconnected from very quickly, that big picture, because it's still relatively new, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Or new in that I want to do something about it. It's not obviously new.
So I'm going to play with that a little bit here. I love this, like where your mind goes to, and like how you can serve the planet and also bridge the individuals all the way up there. You mentioned that this is something new for you, and a new thing here. I'll be really curious for you if you like go back across your life so far, what's been one thing that has like either angered you, irritated you, frustrated you, or excited you, like something that just makes you feel an intense amount of emotion that isn't necessarily a new thing, but it's actually been something that's been recurring over and over in your life that comes to mind, that almost like is on that same level.
Yeah,
it's been with you for a while.
To clarify, the newness is the newness of wanting to take responsibility and being brave enough to do something. The connection has been there for as long as I can remember. What really gets me, well, there's so many different things, but one example is in Aberdeen here, them just cutting down the trees along the side of a road here. In fact, my road here, came home from Christmas away to find they'd chopped half the trees down, and or just seeing areas where they've cleared, not big areas, but in the city where they've just chopped trees down for some reason or other. And completely, well, I'm in tears, literally crying because they've chopped trees down. So that's big. But then, so many things get me upset, seeing a picture of or a footage of a polar bear floating on a lone ice sheet will have me in tears. Hearing about the droughts in Kenya, and that the elephants and that are all dying because there's no water, and the fact that because there's all the big animals have been killed, the soil quality is dropping, so then the grass doesn't grow, and it's all this complex cycles, and that that breaks my heart. So it's sort of, I think one of the reasons why I just haven't gone there is because it's so emotionally overwhelming when I do.
Yeah.
I just can't. It just upsets me so much. And then on the other hand, I know I'm flipping away a bit, but there's also humanity's going in a certain direction, in self-destruction, and maybe that's the universe has this big thing. So actually, maybe that's what's supposed to happen. I don't know. I'm trusting that that's what it is. And for me, the challenge is I have this space now to be proactive, but not get so attached. It's that, how can I, get in touch with my consciousness, but without all the drivenness and the underneath it. It's all learning.
Yeah. Now there's as you were saying this, something came to mind that I say, which is like, everything happens for a reason, and the reason can be me, but everything happens for a reason. And there's this element here that, as you were saying this, there, it's like, yeah, perhaps the universe has created this entire has created this and has been driving this down this path for it to align with when you have space, and for it to align with where your emotional connection is, and the fact that we're having this conversation and so on and so forth, just to really light up that spark in a way. So it's not to say that this has to be the thing, but I'm going to be open to that and say, like, if we're going to give the universe its power and honor it for its ability to create in the world, or to move things forward, then I'm gonna honor this conversation, and the fact that you brought that up. Out of all the things that you could have brought up into this conversation, this is where you decided to go. I'm gonna honor that and say perhaps this is the time to have a conversation around it. You know, the part that I like that I feel is really interesting to explore is around the emotional elements for you there. Because what I get about you, Claire, just even from this year, it's like if the limit for you may not be in what is possible for you, the limit that might keep you from actually reaching your next levels or playing in that next level place is the capacity to actually be able to be in it.
Yeah, very much.
Any of that resonate?
Yeah, you hit a nail on the head. And I've dealt with it historically by putting a full-on lid on it and stopping listening to the news, not watching anything, just not connecting, because that protects my heart from breaking when I see this stuff.
So what if we were able to play differently with it, right? Like I'll be, and I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not like trying to lead you down a certain thing. I don't know. I'm just really curious as to like what happens on the other side of that. Like, and so let me first start out here. And I don't feel like this is a head conversation. I feel like I think you had it intuitively within the body, right? So just check in with yourself. Yeah, check in with your body right now and talk here. If you were going to allow your heart to break as you continued to make your impact in the world, if you were going to allow yourself to have the tears stream down your face as you're making an impact, and use that to help fuel you and fuel what comes next for you, right? Check within your body, as I'm mentioning that here. See what comes alive. See if there's any tingling. See if there's what sensations are you getting when I describe that there around. Perhaps the way that you make your impact is by simply allowing those emotions to really take their place.
Yeah, it's really scary. I guess that does get quite messy because I just don't know. Loss of control. And pain. Yeah, but I agree with what you're saying. It takes you back to something that Rich shared, the guy who, you've got to talk about the thing that you're passionate about. That's your uniqueness. So this is something that I'm really passionate about. Yeah. I just can't get past the heartache already, and I haven't even dipped into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Really painful.
It really does. And like, are you willing to use this space here and some of the time that we have here to like explore a little safely as like what it might be to be with someone as you're exploring that there?
Yeah.
And if it's too much, like we don't need to go there, and it might be okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So if you were in a place where there's a lot of different things that can be done out there, and when I was hearing from you talking about your connection with the planet and various things that calls something from your heart, right? If you were in a place where you actually felt like, okay, I'm going to do the work with the tears streaming down, right? That's just a release of emotion. That's just like, but like the work is getting done. I am here. The universe has put me in this place to do this here. What's the area? And like, if we're going to play, let's just go all in. What's the area that like makes your heart hurt the most? The area that like, if you could see this resolve, if there could be something in here, even a 1% shift, you would know that like great has been done in the world, not just good, but great.
I think the biggest thing is the destruction of the world's forests, because that's so animals and ecosystems and so critical for the planet. Yeah, it's the thought of massive swathes of the Amazon, or even in Tasmania where my uncle lives, you know, them just and Russia, you know, just removing swathes and swathes of woodland and forest and homes for so many species, and removing the ability of the planet to remove the CO2 from the atmosphere. It's just a startlingly horrendous. And for what? To make money, basically. It's all about making money for human consumption. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
And would you mind in this moment just like sharing, and I really wanted to say I really acknowledge and respect you for like playing in this space. And we talked about some 6 agreements before we came here. One of them being that I'm in the lead and you're in control. So if we get to a place where it's like it does feel like actually I need to take a break from it or whatever it is, you just let me know, right? But like I'm gonna choose to do what's uncomfortable for me in this place here. To go a little bit further.
Yeah.
If you did nothing, I want to explore there. If you did nothing, if you were dedicated to a life of building up a strong coaching practice with helping individuals and groups, and you know, kind of like, you know, making your impact in a way of, you know, helping whoever you choose to help specifically through coaching, but without having this part of your mission there. If you did nothing, like tell me, play it out for me over the course of your lifetime here. Like what do you see happening in that space that's so integral to your heart?
Sorry, I got confused the question. So what do I see with respect to what? With respect.
So let me rephrase that, right? I just want to explore a little bit, and I'm not sure where this is going to go. I'll be honest, but I'm willing to go down this path here. Because we kind of know, like, you can keep building the coaching practice in the way that you're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that to me feels very much like this is your next step game. Like you got that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I would be really curious, like if you chose to go down that route and just let that continue. I would love to just play out a little bit as to like for you, like what, like, I mean, what might that be?
It'll be a damn sight better than what I have been doing. And I think that in the next step space, one of the things I'm wanting to do is outdoor workshops, so connect people to the outdoors, do a wilderness retreat myself, and you know, so give myself the joy of connecting with the environment and what space we have. And potentially coach businesses or individuals that are doing great things for the planet, you know, support it that way. That may well come. It probably would take a while because I'm not focusing on that at the moment. I'm not like deliberately finding companies that are, you know, for example, making non-plastic straws or whatever it is, or doing environmental projects or in Africa, or trialing different farming styles to rebuild the soils and things like that. So so it doesn't mean it would
really quickly, Claire, before we go down with the second part here, I just want to just capture what you just said right there. Like one of the things that's really interesting about having this conversation with you versus other people who like talk about climate change or different things that are going on with the planet, it's like it is effortless for you to just like rattle off different places where you're seeing like challenges and destruction in the world, it's effortless for you to like tap in and see like, hey, this is what makes my heart cry. It's effortless for you to like talk around like, here goes different projects or different kinds of companies. And the thing that's really interesting about it is that you have like, there's a diversity in what you say. It's not just like one specific like ecosystem. It's like they can be doing this, they can be doing this, they can be doing that, they can be doing this. And there was something you said, I don't remember the exact words you said, but it's like it won't be happening anytime soon, you know. And I'm like, and it was almost like bingo, because it's like the things that would be necessary to allow that to happen anytime soon, you explicitly said, I'm just not doing that. So would you be willing, like, pardon?
Yeah, which arguably isn't true either, because, you know, I could turn it round and be like, well, you know, I'm building my credentials as a coach, building my business, which an experience and knowledge and ability to give me a platform to offer to go down that route. So it's not a truth that I'm not doing anything. However, I'm certainly not focusing on going for those kind of clients now. And I guess that's potentially the difference.
And then can I just ask, is there like, is there a reason why not now? Like, is it something that, yeah, like I'm just be curious.
I think more just because I have been, it's almost like I'm building a network, not necessarily consciously. I am doing it consciously in that I'm connecting with people that I want to coach. I'm certainly not coaching people I don't want to coach. It's just that's the nature of my network from where I am sitting in Aberdeen, which is an oil and gas city, you know, so quite a few, I'm going to say unfortunately, because it does feel unfortunately, quite a lot of my clients are in the oil and gas industry, and that's where my money is, and that's where my money's come from, which is a complete oxymoron, you know, compared to where I want to go. But that's okay. I can handle that if other people can handle that. It's almost like to the balancing career part 2 over career part 1. It's sort of, it's that career part 1, ironically, is giving me the opportunity to do career part 2. So I think, interestingly, it's what I need to do. Oh, actually, God, I mean, Rich Litvin's got a lot to answer for, but he says a lot of good things, doesn't he? Is about doing a research project almost into companies or individuals that are working with countries to preserve woodland areas around the world. It's probably what I could do to help me figure out who, you know, and if it's dedicate, like, I don't know, a day a week to doing that, to help me figure out how I can get in touch with them to support them doing as a coach, because I do see that I'm not going to be someone who's going to go and tie myself to a tree. However, if I can help them be really impactful and powerful, then that's how I see the influence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, let me ask you here, since we're tapping into body here, you said, does it make sense? Like, that sensations there, does it make sense for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, describe really quickly the sensations that you're feeling.
I always feel grounded. I feel slightly nervous as well, but it comes back to what, you know, I've got this time and this space that I'm filling, but I could choose, instead of filling it, to have a conversation. Well, I'm having coffee. For example, I'm having coffee next week for 2 hours with a lady in Aberdeen who's bringing a women's network to Aberdeen. Cool. You know, potential source of clients, da, 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 da. Now, I could choose to use that 2 hours to do some research and make some connections around companies that are having awesome impacts on forest preservation around the globe. It's a choice. And I don't, you know, so that's why I see it as a quite practical, really.
Yeah, like that's what's coming for me as you're saying this here. It's like, yeah, like what I heard is like 20% of my time. Let's assume that you're working a 5 day a week here. You're spending 1 day a week on it. 20% of your time is in building your network, doing the research project, whatever that ends up being, but being fairly intentional about that space in particular. The other 80% of your time goes with like serving the people that are around you, serving what's here, like keeping like there's practical things that are related to that. But from what I'm hearing here, it's like, okay, let's make sure that let's give you the space, or not even give you the space, like create the space for that to live in more of live more in the world. And I'm going to leave you to think about that. I'm going to put a pin in that for a little bit here. But before I do, I'm going to toss out one more thing here. And I'm going to go to Amy to bring her into this conversation. And the thing that came to mind here was the just how fun it might be. Like with the other opportunity you have with the fact that you're in an oil and gas area here. And I don't know your background. Were you in oil and gas yourself at a time?
Yeah, well, I'm a geologist, so I've got my 2 degrees. Okay, well, basically, geological systems, rocks, represent the planet over the last 4.6 billion years, and all the ecosystems that have gone through, like the dinosaurs, you know, that's caught in the rock record. That's how we know that that event happened. And this human will definitely be captured in the rock record with all the plastic. It'll be like, oh, look, that was the human existence of plastic, you know. So it's intrinsically linked, and in order to be a good geologist, you have to understand planet systems over millennia and billions of years. So that connection with nature's been there from when I loved geography at school.
Okay.
And then underneath the geography is like rivers and glaciers, and then geology is the rocks underneath.
Oh, like, all right. And there's so much about this here that just like truly make it takes another level, and I'm like, okay, this is your world. So the thing I want to leave you with here, as you're thinking primarily like around building out that network, something tells me too that you probably have more of a network in that than you might might not normally see. But there's an element here of like, if you've been in oil and gas, if you've been in this area, or like at least around others that are there are probably a lot of other people who feel like you, who feel like the opportunities right now that I have, the opportunities in Aberdeen, the opportunities that I see around me are actually creating more of what I don't want, you know, but these are the only options I have for me right now. And to be honest with, like, it almost sounds, you talked about the outdoor experience, the outdoor coaching things. Like I can see a group of people a group of executives even like being very, very interested in having a different type of experience, and in really being in a place where like they get out into the nature and they see either the impact of it, or they're able to connect and commune and have an experience that's beyond the 4 walls, beyond the spreadsheets, beyond all those things, and give them a chance to really like connect back with the planet and give them a chance. Because you're in a place where oil and gas is where people have power right now. In this place, I'm really interested in the thought of like, what if there was more of a partnership, and it wasn't a balancing of I have to balance this versus that, and how do we help them even out? But what comes for me is like an integration. What would it look like if it was more integrated? What if it wasn't this or that, but it was just integrated? Rich talks about transcend and include a lot. So I know you know Rich, so I'll use some of his language here as well in case it's helpful. But like that element of integrating and saying like, if this was one side and this is the other, how can we get them to overlap as much as possible, and to play to the fact that you yourself are a person who desires this here, and to create something so that others who might be also looking for an experience like you have might get a chance to connect this a little bit more deeply. I get a chance to go a little bit further from there. I think when that starts to happen, you'll start to see like some of the TED Talks and all those things like naturally start to evolve. But right now, what it feels like is like, doing the early steps of this next level of playing in the outdoor world and connecting it to causes or what you really care about, like not through the back door, but through the front door in a sense, you know? There just seems to be an opportunity to just integrate there. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, like percolate on that for a little bit. I'm going to go to Amy and we'll see. We'll come back and see what comes from there. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Amy, can you go ahead now and just unmute yourself? Let's bring you into this conversation. Okay, I'm going to unmute you actually physically.
Nice.
All right, here you are. You are now unmuted.
Yeah. Okay. But I see. Okay.
All right.
Why do participant? I want to see.
Can you see me now?
I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Yeah,
all right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Let me just play in this place of messiness here. So, Amy, like, you got a chance to be a participant in this conversation. Like I said, like coaching is taking place even when you're not directly, in the mix there. I'm curious for you. I know I'm not interested in like your thoughts on anything that happened in this earlier part of the conversation as it applies to Claire. I'll be curious if there was anything that happened. Like we were actually like in our bodies a lot. So let's maybe stay there for us in this conversation. Within your body here, what's the sensation that you're feeling right now as we move into the second part of the conversation?
Interrogation. So I want to because if we are three, I want to like we say in French ménage à trois. No, but it's more like some like and enjoying the fact that Claire is here, and then take stuff from her as much as I can, because the interest is today we are three, so let's take the advantage of being three. So I'm hearing her, and I'm asking my question like, was it a choice for you to put me and her, or did it happen because we were only available at that time, and that was the how do you say, the hazard, not the hazard, we say hasard en français, but the coincidence for us to meet at that time, or was it calculated? And if it was calculated, what happened in your mind for that, or you want my guess, or
yeah. So all right, cool.
Right now.
Awesome, and I love that there. Like this is the part that's really fun. I love that how you like captured that, like a ménage à trois. Like we have this opportunity for something different because all three of us are on this conversation. For today's conversation, the way that I'm choosing to do it is to kind of still do individual coaching in a group area to see what comes up from that. There'll be other conversations where it's a lot more fluid and dynamic, and everyone's going to be asking each other questions here. But I love how I love hearing like what's on the mind. And I'm happy to answer this question here. It was curated coincidence, is the way that I would say it. Curated coincidence. What I mean by that is that I left it open as to who would join the conversations at various points, but the people who were invited to be a part of the conversation, any combination would work. Any combination would work. And this is the part that I really enjoy too. It's like there's a cross-pollination of ideas and backgrounds and such here, such that how you show up will also impact Claire as well. So there's an element of it that is by design, and there's another element of it that is just completely chaos, and that feels fantastic to me. So let me ask you this here, like, how would you like to play? We're gonna spend some time focused on you a little bit here. If there's an element here where you can get coached on something, like, what's the question I have for you? Yeah, I think we keep this. I think we just keep this one really genuine here. What would serve you the most to talk about today?
But it's I don't know, like something that Claire can have some intervention on. Because I heard at the beginning, but I'm not sure whether I understood it completely. Claire, you say you want to become a coach also?
I am a coach. Yeah,
you are a coach, but you're a geologist from training.
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I did 20 years.
And then, okay, to
Yeah,
work
20 years.
in oil and gas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then you stopped.
Mm-hmm. 3 months ago.
3 months ago, you quit.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you wanted to be, and that's when you started to become a coach, or you were already a coach before you quit?
I spent a couple of years training to become a coach, certified coach, and then left.
Before, because you were calculating that you wanted to quit. So you started before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Amy, now, like I can feel something right here, and I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it because it feels very real for me. I can feel a desire. It's like you are a people person. You want to know Claire. You're like, hold on, I have questions for you, Claire. There are areas there. I'm actually taking Claire off the having to answer question part of it here, because she just had like a pretty intense back and forth with me over the last bit here. So what I'd love to do is by the end of this year, to any extent that any of you would like to stay in touch, we can talk about that and make sure that you can actually create those opportunities to be in touch there. But I want to give her a little bit of space to really just like allow some of what we've already talked through to have its life. So, and I also acknowledge that like you're like, no, but like I want to get to know others here. I think the question that's come up for me as we do this. Well, let me just pause real quick and acknowledge that. And I wanted to say thank you, Amy, that you bring that to the table, that you bring that energy, that hunger, that curiosity to the table here, because this is something that's really quite interesting. And I actually do want to create another space to allow for that to happen a little bit differently. I think in this context, I think it'd be good to give us to play it a little bit differently, but I do want to create another space to allow for that to happen as you set out there. All right. So we'll use this space here. We have about like another 15 minutes here. And I know that great things can happen here. So what we'll do right here is we'll take the focus and keep it on you for a bit, right? And it might be something where like you want to introduce it into this conversation because you'd be curious how me or Claire might look at it. It might be something that has been working on you for a while, and you have a question around it. But I'll be curious for you, like if we can focus on you and really help you play in your next level, right? Let's go with this because it's been a kind of a theme here a bit here. Where's the area in your life or business where you can bring in some more messiness, or that you're afraid to be messy at this time?
Okay. Sorry, I'm having trouble to focus here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere. No, but it's just like my feeling now is frustration. It's okay. Sorry.
Tell me more.
No, but I don't. I'm frustrated by this morning because I feel like we had a session where it was like 1-to-1 and 1-to-1, and I didn't see any benefit of being in a group if I mean, yeah, this was not what I expected. I thought that would be like a round table, some sharing with me and Claire, and I felt a bit excluded about her interaction with you. And now I feel that she's excluded of my interaction with you, and I don't want to talk about just me and you because we have a session for that tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I want to do something where she would benefit from it, whatever, or and I want to benefit from her. Otherwise, then I stick to personalized session, or maybe I didn't see because I was too focused on my frustration and trying to get over it, and that therefore I missed something, and then it's a vicious cycle. I get more frustrated because I missed it. So this is me right now. I'm sharing. Take it.
I am receiving it right now, and I thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. And let's see. Like I get where you're coming from. I think that frustration is fun to. It's not even fun, but it's like it's valid, and it has its place here. And you know, I'm going to take that right now and see how I want to play with it. Because there was a construct in which I did it. Like this is how I choose to do group coaching versus, let's say, mastermind. And a mastermind, like my goal at this point is to connect really great people by going through and exploring, and in giving you all the opportunity to do whatever else you need to do on your own, right? So if there is a place of connection there, like, then great. I want to create space for that, right? And I might go back to Claire in a bit and see if we can if you'd like to play this in a little bit here. But I love that you brought in your frustration into this conversation. Like, let's play with that. Are you willing to, in this moment, because I do want to still give her just a little bit more space before we get into that. Maybe we take the next 10 minutes here. We can go from that place. But I think that the way that this was set up, I'm hearing that there was some confusion around that, and that I'll take that on as something that I can clarify going forward. So I appreciate you on that. In terms of frustration, so let me ask you this question here, right? The question I would ask you is, right now I'm choosing to continue to do this in a way where it's like Claire gets a chance now to get to see you and to see some of the things that you're working on and some of the things that you have an opportunity, and not only just Claire, but anyone else that watches this later on, right? To really get a chance to dive deeper into, like, to get to see you beyond just like what normally gets presented. And to continue to choose to make a relationship from that perspective. So I am happy to, if you want in this time, to spend a little bit of time focused on you. If not, like, there's nothing that I can shift. I can also feel internally that I'm like, ooh, like my nervous system is acting up, right? And I think I would be really curious around so let me just firstly ask you, like, would you be okay with us spending 10 minutes just focused on you?
Yeah, but I will be different. I will try to include her because she's also in the conversation.
Okay, that's fine. And we'll just see. I think the thing is, what I want to try and do is like so I will say this, so there's no confusion on this. I'm open to that, and Claire, like, if you're open to that, like, I'm also open to that. Like, I'm good
yeah,
with
if she is willing to also. Sorry for like speaking on your behalf, Claire. If only if you're okay with it.
Absolutely.
And, go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, no, and for me, my insight or something to share with you is around, I'm wanting to know, what learning did you get about yourself from seeing me being coached by Niiamah? Because that's where it comes the group. So, because what I'm hearing, sensing is there is a connection. You're like, oh my goodness, were we supposed to be together? Did Niiamah plan? Niiamah had no idea I was going to go into nature, forests and climate change. No, Scooby. No idea. So if that resonates with you, what resonates with you in that space is my brain's going, because I think perhaps that's what hit you. I don't know though. It could be completely wrong.
No. No, everything, like I'm fascinated about geology also. It's an area I really like, but I don't think I've never mentioned it with Niiamah before. Like, I love those, when I go somewhere, like volcanoes is something that fascinates me, all those kinds of things. I did a bit of geology during my studies, so it's something I like, so that's something that I find fascinating about you. And then working 20 years in oil and gas, which is also an industry that I have no idea about, and I'm like, wow, how is it like? What did you do in it? And it's always like, yeah, it raised me a lot of questions. And then what then I understood that probably if you wanted to quit, maybe it's because you wanted something that is more meaningful and in line with your value, if you really like the environment. And I believe, but maybe like work with the devil also is a solution. If because you are against it or with it to make sure it doesn't screw up too much. So why leaving? Because you didn't find a place, or so yeah. It's raised me a lot of questions and curiosity about, and because I'm thinking also about myself, like how did I? Me, it was more at the beginning. I also felt that the value part was important, because the first idea I had, so I'm selling vaccine for chickens. So the industrial chicken that you mentioned during your conversation that you hate, this is something that I do. and at first I was like, yeah, maybe it's not so much aligned with my value, and I want to do something which is more like sustainable, and I wanted to go into biogas. So still use that animal farming, but use it in a more like sustainable way, like use the manure to create some biogas, to create some energy, and like use this network that I've created, not throw everything away, but use this but making it more environmental friendly. And then I drifted away, and the value part like faded a bit more, and I'm more on like how to help like all the player of this animal farming husbandry actors, and give them some data to market data to make them grow their business. So I shifted back into because what I want I always come back to the primary aim, and I'm a bit more selfish, and my selfish primary aim is if I do this biogas thing, is more something which is be NGO, and I want to be entrepreneur. I want to have a business. I don't want to cut on my living standard. So that was how I left it a bit. But I'm still very, for my leisure, I love sailing. I love the nature. I really like geology, also those kind of things. So I keep that in mind. I don't think I would be able to sell weapons, but yeah, I'm not as much as you are. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you say?
I love your energy. It's just this pouring out of and Nemo smiling. I'm just going to go get a coffee, because I can leave these guys to that for the next.
and there's an element here too that I really want to make sure like that comes out here, because like there's an element that I'm like, hey, you've given me a gift as we've been talking here, which is like, how do we actually create like real relationships, right? Like it takes time, it takes a back and forth, it takes space for all that there.
Yeah.
And so like you have me in this conversation, like I'm gonna call out that I'm thinking through that there, right? The other part of me is also like is I'm really curious if we're gonna spend this time here, like what I'm hearing from you is a frustration. Like I want to create a connection with this person. I'm curious and all that stuff there, right? For you in this place here, if you were going to give, so Claire showed up in this conversation in a way that was like really full from the very beginning. Like she came in and she brought in enough that like gave you a chance to really get a chance to know her, right? If you were gonna give her that same gift, if you're gonna give her the same gift that makes her so frustrated that we only have 10 minutes left of this conversation, right? That it allows her to connect with you as well, like. What should she know about you here? And we'll use this as an opportunity to really like start building the foundation here. I'm going to leave the work for you two right now, just because of the nature of this particular thing. I set up different programs for more engaged, more longer engagement, different types of group there. I can't really do that in this particular space, or that's not what the space I've created for this year. But at the same time, like, I feel a real desire. I love frustration. Like that's it. Like I rather that than like apathy. So like if you were going to give her the gift of getting to know you in a way that she kind of gave you here, what would you share with her?
I think what I've got more naked than ever by just being angry and like shooting so many questions at her. She might have seen that I'm an impatient and spontaneous person, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of.
So Claire, since you're open to playing here, would you mind here just sharing one thing, and you can, would you mind sharing one thing that that you get about Amicy, like just on a deeper level here, like one thing that it doesn't mean to be right or wrong, but one thing that you get about her, especially, and I'm looking at this here as like the beginning of y'all being able to create a beautiful friendship or relationship or wherever it might take off from there. But can we use this here?
Wow.
What's one thing that you get about Amicy?
I'm getting the frustration for me is also around the frustration and conflict within yourself, Michi, and that, oh shit, it was almost like me saying what I was saying was shining a light on you. It's like, how I'm doing this, but it's at conflict with this. However, I'm doing it because of this value. So there's this complete actual conflict. So what does that mean going forward for me? That when for you, I'm getting my metaphor, my words mixed up. So it's sort of what I'm seeing is you suddenly realizing, oh shit, am I at conflict with my values, and am I going to do anything about it? What could and that's something. And so I can see a lot of. I mean, I'm 46, so I'm a decade plus on from Niiamah. I'm not sure how old you are, Michi. So I've been where you are as well, Amici, in that I spent 20 years living the life and earning good money and not wanting to work from an NGO. And I'm not working from an NGO now, but I have a route to do that. And I want that for you as well, because I sense in your heart there is a desire to do really good in the world. And factory chickens is probably not quite where it's at. Certainly that's probably not what got you into veterinary science.
Not really, but and yes, also because I had the opportunity to like take care of anything else, but I chose the industry because that was the only way I could go, the only easy way I could be sent abroad. So when I graduated, I wanted to go abroad because I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to discover something else, and the only job that I found quickly and easily was a job for chicken and pigs. And I was like, you know what? Whatever it takes, I'll take it. So I chose it kind of. And then it was interesting. It was really interesting. And like you say, keep your friend close and your enemy closer. That's what I said when I said like you can choose to keep the devil closer. It's also a way, the way you survive in it is like, okay, I know that they are doing like shitty stuff, but at least I'm inside. And I can try to make it a bit less shitty in the few things that I'm touching, and then that's it. It's something I can do, or you can choose to not work in it at all. But I think it's okay. It can be aligned with your value, even by working for the devil.
So I want to slow things down really quickly. Actually, thank you very much. I'm going to slow things down for both of us here, right? And I'm gonna kind of call out a bit of what I think I heard in Claire's invitation here. And there was the part that I got from Claire's invitation is that there's something like everything that you shared is true, and there's something around what she positioned here, the way that what she shared, who she is, all that stuff there, that actually calls a feeling within you, like the feeling of frustration. And I think in the invitation is coming from the place of what was it about that? And this is like your own internal inspection there, but like what is it around? What did you gain from getting to the place where it's like there's a frustration? What does this actually say to you? What are some areas where we talk about your primary aim? What are some areas around this where you can see elements where your primary aim might be off, or different areas where you're looking to play? And I think there's an invitation here to examine what is the gift behind the frustration, and what is it that you are seeing in Claire that you want for yourself, so we can articulate that and we can like actually help you get that. And I'm gonna like what I'm gonna do right now. Like, does that make sense where I'm coming from?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
So what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to actually like respect our time on this one here and leave it a little open-ended, right? I think that there are, I do want to just say just how grateful I am for you, MEC, for bringing in and just playing and like choosing to play very openly here with all the emotion of this all here. You've given me something that I'm excited to do, to go and create a new space that can get us a little bit more of those interactions. And my invitation for you is, if this is something that you're looking for, like if you're looking to meet other people, if you're looking to be around in these environments here, like spend some time seeing for yourself here, like what is it that you're looking out of these kinds of experiences, and how can we help get you some of those as part of your support along the way? How can we help? I would love for you to have either more group experiences or more opportunities to be frustrated, so that you can continue to move forward there. So that's my invitation to you. We do have a conversation. We can talk a little bit further, and this is something that I am excited to go and create in one way. But I also get the sense that like this will also support you through along your journey as well, to have that understanding for yourself, and then we can play from there. All right.
Yeah.
So,
and could I, well, just a couple of, I want to say thank you very much, Niiamah, because Niiamah created an amazing space there for me to be completely vulnerable and open. And it may be the first time you have ever experienced that, Amici, which is maybe why it hit you so hard, feeling excluded, wanting to know more. So just be aware of that. I've been involved in group coaching for the last 2 years. So I've seen a lot of people be very open and honest, and it brings up stuff. So I just wanted to share that, because I trust Niiamah implicitly, so that's why I just went for it, because I knew he would hold me. But if that's the first time,
of course. No. It's not like against that. That was really. It's not against that. Oh, sorry. No. I don't want you to feel like.
No, I think it's really cool. I'm just saying it's a gift for you, and if you've not, if it's the first time you've seen it in a group set, because whether it was group or not, this is group. You've just seen me be coached, which is a group coaching. I've seen a lot of it, and there's huge value in it. So there's some real value in what we've just gone through. Huge value for all of us. That wouldn't have come out if it had just been 2 of us.
Yeah.
So let's do this here. I want to say just how fully, and I can feel it right now, just how like fully appreciative I am of both of you here. Talk about like allowing ourselves to be messy, talk about that there. And I feel like, and I feel all 3 of us got a chance to play with that in some real way in this conversation. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you both for allowing that to have space here, for not having to be not having to be composed, and instead to allow ourselves to see like, what is the heart? What do we really want? What do we truly desire? And like, I really do. I do want to call that out there. And I love the various spaces that we can play. I love the dynamics that come out once we're in and with other people. And it's something that that quite frankly, I feel is a gift that I'm also experiencing. There's a completely different dynamic around managing in a group, facilitating in a group, coaching in a group, and it's fun. And so I wanted to say thank you to you both. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this conversation here, and then we'll just end from there. All right. So this is it. This is real deal. This is what it looks like to play in a place of being messy. This isn't what it looks like to play in a place where you don't necessarily know what the next thing's happening. And that's what the next level is like. Like, you're seeing me right now go through it. You're seeing us experience new things and see, what does it look like out here? There's no path. There's no right way to go about doing this. So if you're interested in getting a chance to be messy too, and be surrounded and be supported and be championed within a group where anything can happen that will help, and have a group of people who can actually support you as you are going through that journey, I want to invite you to come and engage in a conversation with me. I'm creating the next level oasis, and I would love for you to come be a part of it. You can go to niiamahashong.com/oasis to find out more. And to be honest, like based on this conversation, it's gonna grow. I'm like there are things that are happening that are gonna happen there that I hadn't even anticipated, and it's because of this journey that we're all on. So I invite you there. I appreciate you all. And I have one invitation for you: be more you. Game on. All right.
Thank you.